Here's exactly what I would do if I had to relearn software engineering from scratch. Small disclaimer, I was never the smartest. I was recommended by my professor to reconsider switching from computer science to another major, and I failed my intro to CS course back in college. So I spent a lot of time wasting time. I've now had the chance to work at places like Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft, and I've gotten offers at a bunch of similar places, and it seems like lots of people are interested about how I did it. So here's exactly what I would do to relearn everything and get a job. First, learn Python. It's easy, companies are okay with you using it, it's a good beginner language, and it makes learning other languages easier. Best of all, it's the easiest way to do coding interviews. Java is also a really great language. It's a little harder, but there are many teams at places like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan that specifically look for people with Java experience. Now, at some point, I'd say learn both, but when you're beginning, learn the ins and outs of a language before you move on to another one. Now, whatever you pick, do a full project end-to-end and actually materialize your new Java or Python knowledge into something tangible. You can start out with easy ones like Python tic-tac-toe, then start building out chess games, and then finally, you could build something like a mobile app and deploy it to real servers. Next, you want to do one easy level leak code a day to really build up that coding muscle for interviews. As you're training this muscle, you need to realize solving a coding problem on your own time versus a real life coding interview is vastly different. So go to places like preamp.com to practice both your coding and speaking skills in a real life scenario. You want to mirror the interview pressure, moments where you don't have enough time, the ability to talk in a real life interview, and all these crucial things that happen in a real life scenario. Lots of times I have lots of behavioral answers prepared and I've done lots and lots of leak code, but being prepared for something versus actually doing it is really different. Just imagine the classic scenario of show and tell where someone preps weeks and weeks and they freeze up when the time actually comes. You want to get rid of this and show off 200% of what you've been prepping, and the best way to do this comes with lots and lots of mock interviews and real world practice. Now, once you start to feel like you've got a hang of coding and a few interview problems, you can start to look at more advanced resources like LeetCode mediums and hards, and grokking the coding and grokking the system design interview. Now, I've never been good at coding. I've spent 6 to 8 hours on a LeetCode easy for weeks. I remember I would be coding out one of these problems for hours and hours, and my roommate would come in, take a look at the problem I've been working on, and just solve it in 4 minutes. So how do we go from where I was to where my roommate is? Now, there's two incredibly important things to the LeetCode portion. The first thing is what I call the feedback loop. Start LeetCode early. Try out the most popular easy question on LeetCode, maybe something like twosome, and see if you can solve it. I know I say early, but lots of times when you try to do that, I understand that you end up looking at the solution and there are so many concepts that you don't know or haven't been exposed to yet. And that's okay. Pause there, watch a quick 5-minute tutorial on the data structure or algorithm on YouTube, and try to come back to it. Slowly decipher these abstract concepts and questions one by one until you take less and less time to solve each one. And if you're like me, 6 hours start becoming 5 hours, 5 hours become 4, 3, 1 hour, and after some time, you'll be able to comfortably solve easies because you start to recognize patterns and it really becomes second nature to you. And then when you finally start medium level problems, you'll feel like you're back to square one. But again, it's that feedback loop. Keep grinding out problems until mediums start to feel like easies. Now, the second thing is something that everyone misses while prepping. You're learning so many different algorithms and LeetCode problems and you feel like you're ready, but it's so much easier for us because in the LeetCode question that you're doing from things like Blind 75 or Netcode 75, it's already tagged as something like array, graph, or string, which means we know which topic we should go forward with. Basically, we're given the tools to solve the problem. But in a coding interview, even if you know every single tool or every single algorithm in the world, how do you tell which one to use? The ability to quickly match your knowledge and be able to know which algorithm out of what you've learned that you should use is so very important. Places like Facebook or TikTok actually asks you multiple coding problems, so you basically have to know what to use really quickly. Now, once you're ready to finally apply for that internship or apply for that full-time job, just start applying as early as you can, and despite the results, you'll be getting real-world practice to integrate everything you've learned, and ultimately, you'll receive a job opportunity. If you want more content like this or have any recs on what you want to hear about next, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment down below.